I laughed when the muster board showed 3 tags still hanging at 210. I even said, "Bet they're smoking behind the mud pumps again." Lazy. And the night pusher grinned because he thought the same. I should not have said anything. I keep hearing my own voice now. It was stupid. I grabbed a flashlight, a radio, and a wrench. I clipped my belt, checked my boots, and headed out. I told the pusher I'd bring them back. "Tell them they owe me coffee," he said. I said, "2 sugars," and went down the red stairs toward the bunks. The hall was empty. I knocked on bunk 4, then 5, then 7. Nothing. Just the hum from the air system and the soft whine from the deck. The TV in the lounge played a weather loop with no sound. A mug sat on the table. Steam still came off it. I put a finger in it. Warm. "Guys," I said, "shift's not done." I checked the bunks. Blankets were thrown back like they got up fast. Boots by the door. 1 boot on its side, laces out. The locker in 7 stood open. A picture was taped inside. A kid with a birthday hat. I won't name him. He grinned with cake on his face. The calendar over the sink said Tuesday. My watch said Monday. I tapped it. The second hand jumped twice. I let it go. The light above 6 buzzed. It kept flickering. When I looked straight at it, it went steady. When I looked away, it cracked and went dim. I thought it was just a bad tube. I kicked the door to the laundry room. That's where guys hid to vape. The door swung in. It smelled like soap and iron. The floor was dry, which is normal. There were wet footprints on the steel. Bare. The toes pointed to the wall, not the door. They ran 2 steps in and stopped at the cabinets. Drops of dark water under the hinge. I said, "Okay, you got me. Come out." I swung the cabinet open. Just folded towels and a box of tags. A drip hit my shoulder, cold. I looked up. No leak. The ceiling seam was dry. I wiped my shoulder and it came off black. Not grease. Heavier. It stayed on my glove like it didn't want to move. I laughed again and said, "Good one. You guys use bunk oil?" No one laughed back. The radio chirped. Channel 1. "Sanchez, this is Control," a voice said, but the voice was mine, a little slower. I froze. I said, "Who is this?" It crackled. It said, "Who is this?" It matched my words. A beat later, "Sanchez, this is Control," in my voice again, but the timing was wrong. I turned the knob. The channel wheel spun too far and clacked. I set it back, thumbed the mic. "Quit messing around," I said. Static answered. Then a cough, wet and thick, not on the speaker anymore. It came from down the hall. I stepped out of the laundry and walked toward the sound. The light cone from the light looked narrow. The beam jittered. My hand shook. I told myself to get a grip. I said out loud, "If you idiots are filming me, I'll shove that phone down your throat." Galley next. The door was propped open with the bread tray. Knives hung clean. The cooler hummed. A cut lemon sat on the board. The wall clock said 1:50. My watch said 2:18. The cook's radio lay by the sink. It was wet. Not water. Black on the mic grill. I pressed it with the end of the wrench. It smeared. It didn't smell like anything. That bothered me. Oil always had a smell. "Anyone in there?" I shouted into the cooler. My breath made a little cloud. That shouldn't happen in the cooler. The coil shouldn't be that cold. I closed it. The door seals stuck a second and then let go with a sound like someone peeling tape off skin. I swallowed hard. I went back to the corridor. The wet footprints were on the dry side now. They walked up the wall by the galley door and ended at the lighting rail. No marks past that. Just 3 toe marks near the edge, like someone tested it. I said, "Nope," and backed away. On my way past the TV, the weather loop froze. The radar sweep line stopped. The little ship icon sat under a cloud cluster. The name didn't say our rig. It said the last rig I worked, 2 years back. I clicked the remote. Nothing. I pulled the plug. The screen still glowed faint. I climbed to the drill floor. The pumps thudded. Mud ran slow. The driller's chair was empty. The brake was on. A hard hat lay on its side with a smear on it, black like the stuff on my glove. I tried the intercom. Drill floor to control. Respond. No reply. I tried again. The speaker whispered. It sounded like the mud moving, but wrong. Too wet. Too close. Forget it, I told myself. Find the 3 and get out. I checked behind the shaker. Footprints again. Not bare this time. Boots, but the soles were wrong, like the tread was melted smooth in the middle. They wobbled. They led into the mud room and stopped at the locked hatch. The hatch wheel turned easy. It should have been stiff with salt. I pulled it. The seal split and something black slid out. It wasn't much. It looked thin. It moved like a run of paint down glass. It ran toward the floor drain and stopped halfway. Then it went back up the inside of the hatch like it changed its mind and vanished into the gap. I stood still, hand on the wheel. The hatch was shut tight again. I didn't touch it. I went to the muster station to check tags. The board said 2 in galley, 1 in engine, but their tags were still on the rack. I slid one off to be sure. The paint under it was a clean square. No dust ring. The lift boat list was taped next to it. The names on it were from last hitch. Guys who were home. It shouldn't have been there. We had replaced it yesterday. I remember Sharpie on my fingers. That list was gone. Procedure. Follow the list, I said, like a joke. I didn't laugh this time. I took the stairs to engine room. The light broke in the landing with a soft crack. Glass dust drifted down. I put a boot over the kids, drawing someone had taped to the wall. Don't think about the kid. Just find the idiots. Down there, the air always had heat. It was cold now. The engines weren't down, though. The gauges showed green, but their needles shook like they were tired. I stepped between 2 housings and called, "Tony? You in here?" I heard boots scrape. A man moved behind the catwalk. He didn't lift his feet. He slid them. He came into the light. It was Tony. Hard to say if I was glad. He lifted his head, slow like it was heavy. His eyes had a shine on them, like he wore clear lenses, except it wasn't glass. It looked wet but didn't drip. He opened his mouth and coughed. Black spit hit the deck. The drops spread toward my boots. I stepped back. "Tony," I said. "You okay?" He nodded, or his head tilted like a nod. Something made a sound above us, like a hand dragging on the underside of the catwalk. He tried to straighten up. His knee bent backward a little and then popped back. He didn't yell. He said, "Help," but his lips didn't make the right shape. The sound came late, like the radio. He took a step. His boots didn't leave the floor. His body went forward like someone behind him had hooks in his shoulders. The radio hissed. "Man overboard," it said, flat. No alarm tone. Just those words. And then the same cough from next to me. Tony's head turned too far. Not like a movie. Slow. Bad. I backed up, lifted the wrench. "Stay there," I said. "Don't come closer." He kept sliding. The shine in his eyes cut the light beam like it reflected something that wasn't there. I swung the wrench at the rail in front of him. It hit and rang. The sound came back from the hull and the radio both. The wrench jumped in my hand, oily. I dropped it. The sound of it hitting echoed 6 times, out of order. Tony stopped. His shoulders jerked. His jacket was wet at the neck. The wet climbed up the collar, not down. It moved slow. I picked up the wrench. The skin inside my gloves felt wet. I didn't want to look. I ran. I don't remember the stairs. I remember the way my hand slid on the rail like it was greasy. I wiped it on my pants. It smeared. I took the catwalk outside to get air, even though it was night and the wind cut, because I needed to breathe. The sea sounded wrong. It hit the legs in thuds, not slaps. I looked down. The swirls around the pylons were dark, thicker. I told myself that was normal. I told myself all kinds of stupid things. Back in the corridor, the weather TV was off. The screen showed my reflection but a half-second behind my movement. I waved. The reflection didn't. It turned its head the other way and smiled. I yelled and smashed the screen with the wrench until it went black. The silence felt loud after the glass. I heard the little patter of drops in the hall. I aimed the light. The drops ran toward my boots again, not away. I jumped the split and kept moving. I tried the locker room. Safe place. Lights always on. The lights flickered. One was cracked. I heard someone breathing in a stall. "Hey," I said. "We're shutting down." Out. The stall door swung. No one there. The breathing kept on, too close to my left ear. I swung the light. Nothing. My heart banged. I backed out and kept my head on the hull. I went to the muster again, then to the lifeboats. The covers were on. The release pins had tags. The tags looked dry. I touched one. My finger came away black. No smell again. I set my boot on the ladder. My foot sank a little. The step had a film, not water. I pulled it back and an imprint of my tread stayed there like it wanted to hold on. It climbed the next rung when I put the light on it. It moved up, not down. I took my foot off and it settled. I had that thought that if I put all my weight, it would pull me by the ankle. So I didn't. I turned away. I made a plan. Go to control. Lock the door. Call the boat. Wake the whole rig if I had to. The plan felt good. Then in the next step I realized the plans had not helped all night. The lists were wrong. The clocks were wrong. The radio echoed me. The map by the stairs showed a route to control that I knew didn't go there. It said D2 to C-1, but those weren't the right letters. The plate had no scratches, like it was new. I turned it over. The back had old dried salt. It had been there a while. I didn't like any of it. I found control anyway because I worked there long enough to do it with my eyes closed. I didn't close them. The door was ajar. The monitors threw light. The chairs were turned. The main panel had a sheen on it, like it had been polished. The superintendent sat with his back to me. "You hear me on the radio?" I said. He didn't move. "Boss," I said. Softer. I put the light on the screens. Camera feeds bounced around. One showed the flare boom with no flame. One showed the galley. One showed the bunks. In the bunks, the blankets moved a little like someone had just stood up. No one on the floor. Another feed showed the hallway where I was. The camera angle stayed the same. I was not in it. I stepped sideways. The view didn't show me. The hall was empty on the screen. I saw the cracked light, the TV, the laundry door, all empty. I put the light on him. He breathed. It was a slow draw and a sticky sound like tape peeling. He turned. His eyes were wrong. The same shine Tony had. The black on his lips. He coughed, and the black hit the control panel and stuck. It didn't run down. It spread sideways. He opened his mouth too wide. I heard voices from the radios on the wall. Mine, and the pushers, and someone else. They said the same words I had said an hour earlier, but in a different order. The order made no sense. It made sense enough that I wanted to answer. He stood up, and his neck turned like someone took his chin and moved it. His hands came up, and the fingers did a small, broken wave. The joints didn't bend right. The light hit the glass of the nearest monitor and came back with an oil gleam. The radio on my belt said my name with my kid's voice. I almost threw the thing through the window. I backed out. The door closed by itself. I didn't touch it. I put the wrench in the handle. The handle ate the oil off the metal. The wrench slid like it was being pulled through thick liquid. I yanked it free. It stuck to my glove. I shook it. It let go with a pop. I ran for the helideck. It was bright that way. It looked safe, because there was space and wind. The wind didn't blow. It felt like the air stopped. The sea was flat for a second, then thudded again. The deck lights hummed warm and steady. I stepped out, and my boot left a black print that was darker than the shadow. It stayed even when the light moved. It wasn't my shape either. The toes pointed back at me. I took another step. The print came up the rail. It climbed, slow, like someone pulling a cloth up and over. Then it dropped over the other side, and I heard it hit something wet below. Behind me, the intercom clicked on. "Abandon," it said, but nothing after, just the word. The alarm didn't go. The bell was silent. The PA beeped once, and then a cough like the others. My eye burned. I wiped it with my sleeve. My sleeve left a streak that didn't fade. It got darker as I watched, like it was filling in. I went back in. Nothing looked how it should. The corridor was too long. The map on the wall showed a stair that wasn't there. I tried that door anyway and hit solid steel. The handle was cold and wet. I left a clean handprint, and the wet ringed it black. I took the stair, I knew. It turned twice, and then the third landing came early. I hit the wall. The light bounced and popped. The beam cut in half, a tiny line now. It made the hall look like a throat. I told myself to shut up. Voices moved in the vents. Not words. Just the rhythm. People talking in a room down the hall with the door closed, and you can't hear unless you go put your ear on it. I almost did it. I almost put my ear on a vent. I made myself walk. The light dimmed again. I smacked it. The plastic cover was hairline cracked now. When my hand hit it, the cover split completely and fell. It didn't shatter. It bent like a strip of cold rubber and then stuck to the wall. I left it. I found Jimmy by the freezers. He leaned on the door with his head. He breathed once every 5 seconds, clock steady, then not. It skipped. His eyes didn't move right. They looked at the corner like he was following a fly. "Jimmy," I said. He didn't answer. He reached behind him and put his fingers on the handle. They went backward, 2 of them, like the knuckles forgot. He pulled. The door opened, and a wash of cold came out. Nothing else. He coughed, and black hit his shirt and spread under it. He took a step inside like a puppet. I grabbed him by the shoulder and pulled. My hand slid. I got a handful of his jacket and jerked. He came halfway, and then something took him back by the hips. He didn't fight. He was already going. His boots dragged and the toes scratched lines in the paint. 4 lines straight, like someone had drawn a rake across. The rake marks were wet. I let go. I'd be lying if I said I tried harder. I stumbled into the corridor, and the radio said, "Stop," in Tony's voice. Then mine. Then the pushers. Then the kid's picture from the locker saying happy. Like that. The wrong word for the moment. I turned it off. It stayed on. The screen showed 0-100. The seconds count didn't move. The time on the galley clock said 3:20. My watch said 1:05. My head said nothing that helped. I took the last stairs to the lower deck because I thought maybe the skimmer boat was still tied. I told myself I'd just step across and be gone. The door to the outside stuck a little. When I shoved it, oil ran from the bottom edge. It made a small lake on the threshold. The light off it made lines on the ceiling, not moving with the rig, moving on their own. I reached out with the wrench and touched the skin of it. It held the metal like a tongue. The wrench tip vibrated. The sound went up into my teeth. I pulled back and 1/2 inch of the wrench stayed dark. I wiped it on my shirt. It didn't wipe. The boat rope hung slack. The boat wasn't there. Just the bumpers. One hit the hull. It made that slow, wet sound. It kept making it, regular, like a heart you don't want to listen to. I turned to go back, and the hull was wrong again. The safe places I knew were all bent. The lockers were on the ceiling. The safety posters showed a different rig. The routes had arrows pointing to closed doors. The open hatches led to more hull, not outside. I walked a loop and came back to the galley without meaning to. The lemon on the board had gone brown and then yellow again like a bad dream. The weather TV stayed black. My reflection looked at me from the glass window on the oven. He turned his head the way I didn't and smiled again. I threw the wrench. It went into the oven door and stuck like the metal was soft. The sound it made when it hit was the same as the sea hitting the leg. That's when I understood I was not getting out the normal way. I went to my locker. I thought maybe my phone had signal. The phone was wet, black in the speaker and the charge port. The screen lit and showed the picture of my brother's boat that I took years ago. The boat's name was changed to ours. Only ours. Only this place. I ended up in the radio room again without trying. The superintendent's chair turned and no one sat. The black smear on the panel had spread and now the gauges under it moved even though the engine sounded slower. The seat was damp. The air tasted like nothing. No oil, no salt, no iron. Just a blank where smell should have been. I didn't realize that could be worse. There were prints on the window. Not hands or feet. Shapes like someone had pressed a soaked tarp to the glass and pulled. Each time the glass made a little ping. Behind the glass, the sea thudded the way it had all night. The intercom clicked. The voice said, my name, the boss's way. Sanchez. Then my kid's voice. Happy. Then Tony. Help. Then me. Forget it. All in a line. My mouth opened and I heard my voice come out of the speaker before it came out of me. I can't keep righting all the small wrongs. There were too many. The short ones eat your head. A door where a wall should be. A stair ending one tread early. A clock that ran until you looked and then the hand stopped. A tag board with the wrong names. A black sheen in eyes. Joints bending wrong. People moving like they were pulled by a hook from behind. Wet footprints on the dry ceiling. The light cracking and the crack moving along it fast like a zipper. Plans that didn't work. Maps that lied. Procedures that said do this and then doing that got you swallowed. I'm in the comms now. I pushed the desk against the door. The door moved once, like someone leaned on it from the other side, and then stopped like they were patient. The light is down to a thread. The radio still talks without me. If I try to change the channel, it laughs with my voice from when I was a kid. The window shows nothing now. Just the shine of the room and a smear that wasn't there an hour ago. It blinks once in a while like a wet eye, but not human. Something is dragging down the hall. 2 drags, 1 thunk. 2 drags, 1 thunk. The thunk is the wrench hitting the wall. It moves without anyone holding it. I wrote that so it would be real and I could deal with it. The thunk stopped outside the door. The drag stopped with it. I can see the bottom of the door. Something black is pushing under it slow. A thin line, not much. The width of a finger. It stops when I light it. It moves when I look away. If you read this, don't come here. Don't look for us. Don't call the radio. It just learns your voice. It uses it and gives it back wrong. It moves through the places where we keep rules. It likes those. I think we brought it up. Not like a joke. I think the mud had a sheen like that before and we laughed. I laughed. I still hear it. The intercom clicked just now. It said my name the way my kid says it. The door is wet around the lock. The wrench moved. It tapped twice like a knock. The line under the door is fat now. It is coming, and I have nowhere that stays the same for long. The light will go in a second. This is the last line I have. There's no way out. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. It really helps the channel. And if you're not too scared yet, check out one of the other stories waiting for you. See you in the next one.